So I'm doing Nike still to look over as the website. So let's get started. So segments, according to Ma's blog, we learned that segments are groupings of similar entities, and I think it is important to understand the most popular market segmentation. For Nike, I wanted to group people based off of sports and whether or not they are athletes. An example would be those who currently play sports compared to those who just like to work out. You can create subcategories with these, especially with the currently play sport topic. It could be people who currently play soccer, people who currently play baseball or basketball. These two examples help to get a better idea of your market. Who are the athletes? Who are the people who are buying apparel for a specific sport, or really take notice to add to Nike ad campaigns involving athletes, or who just likes to work out and looks for great tips? Cohorts are looked as people who can be grouped together determined by similar experiences. According to King, people are grouped by their shared temporary attitudes, culture, interests, and life experiences. An example, especially one that I'm going to be looking at throughout this presentation, is athletes who played or play a sport in college. If we want to group it more specifically, you can do athletes who play soccer or played soccer in college. Personas, according to King, or a persona has a descriptive name and is meant to be thought of like someone that actually exists. They're generally a composite of people that do exist. I think it is important to understand that there can be different types of personas, especially for this scenario. There are many different types of athletes as well as non-athletes who just like to work out. So the persona that I wanted to go for was a college athlete. Um, for this persona, I used female, ages 18 to 21. I actually wanted to do a little bit of background information, so I created a sophomore college athlete who has finally settled in with her team. She now understands the discipline that goes into being a college athlete and understands the need to be in shape throughout an entire season. Her appearance on and off the field is important to her and loves buying new cleats for every season. A key identifier is she is a dedicated soccer player who plays midfield. She currently plays a sport in college, and she cares about being in shape for the season, loves to have great footwear, and cares a lot about her team's appearances. So KPIs, we learned that there are 4 attributes of great metrics: relevant, uncomplex, timely, and instantly useful. So for the KPIs, I really want to take a look at audience behavior and acquisition. I think that all 3 of these areas are very important. However, I think that based off of your type of website or your brand or campaign, that really determines what key metrics you're going to measure. For Nike specifically, when looking at an audience, I would want to look more towards the type of people that Nike is reaching. You want to know who is visiting the direct site as well as other social media sites such as Facebook. I think it's important to look at unique visitors and page views. You want to know if Nike's message is making an impact on the audience. When it comes to gearing more towards looking at college athletes, I really want to see what type of athletes are visiting a page on the Nike, whether they're visiting a page that's involving footwear, actual clothes, just looking to look for different workouts. I really want to see what different pages that they're searching and what type of audience that's creating. What type of college athletes? Is it college athletes that are playing more contact sports, cross country, or more non-contact, such as cross country? As for behavior, I would take into account exit pages from the direct site, more so to see whether they are leaving without any type of engagement or have they interacted amongst the page or possibly purchased an item. I really want to look at Nike's website and be able to determine whether or not a person who left the site left on a happy note. Did they leave wanting to come back for more, which brings you back to the unique visitors? You want to really take a look at the interaction amongst the different pages on Nike's website. Not just on Nike's website, but even their social media, their Facebook. If there are different pages, if there are different links to them, I want to be able to see whether or not they're engaging or if they purchased an item. As for acquisition, I think it is important to drive more people from a social media perspective. It would be important to look at traffic sources and referrals to see where an audience is coming from. But in order to create a campaign for Nike, it is important to understand what is on people's mind. This, I think, is where keywords come into play. In order for Nike to be successful and create these great ad campaigns, they need to understand where their market is coming from, who is driving their market, what sources is it that coming from, and that's really what I want to look at. As for audience and Nike, I don't really have any real analytical data, so I wanted to take a look at Nike's and how they communicate to their target audiences. They do it through athletes or spokesperson, through motivation, through social media, Facebook, Twitter, or blogs, through ad campaigns, and they do it through creating a strong message as well. We see definitely different ads and campaigns, and they use a lot of athletes in order to bring out their message. Same with the spokesperson. Social media, they do it through Facebook, they do it through Twitter, and they do it through blogs, and that's how they kind of get out their product and their brand. So I think definitely relevancy can come into account when dealing with some of these. For example, are the campaigns relevant to reaching a specific audience? Do these ways of communicate actually reach the audience that they want to reach? Is it relevant to college athletes or non-athletes who work out? If I'm more geared toward college athletes, which method would reach my target audience better? In this sense, I would think that it would be more towards social media, seeing as they are in college. Facebook and Twitter are very popular. As for audience and social, let's take a look at Facebook, and this is Nike's page, Facebook. As you can see over here, it's the amount of likes and visits, and something that's important is from there, I think it's important to see how many people from those visits are unique visitors. There's just another look at Facebook's and their likes. I'm actually going to show you from this way. Here's just another look at it. The people talking about it, the total page likes was 21.7, and just like you can see that in the last week, I do see a bit of a decline. Behavioral is looking at Nike's exit page. Is it important to track the people who are exiting Nike's page? How people feel once leaving any type of site can create an impact on future viewers as well as returning viewers. Sentiment and the type of positive or negative influence Nike has on people should be taken into account. For college athletes, are they leaving inspired, motivated, and by doing so, are they interacting amongst the page? Are athletes purchasing apparel when they are leaving the website? All things that can be found when searching exit pages. It gives you answers to these questions. Looking at social mention, I used it to help determine sentiment on more of a behavioral aspect. From this, I can more so see a neutral sentimental influence from an audience, as you see down here, between the positive, the neutral, and the negative. Over here, pretty much just tells you it's a 24-to-1 ratio of sentiment, and it's reaching 50% of people. Nike site has a feedback questionnaire upon leaving the page. A feedback questionnaire helps determine an audience's opinion. This can somewhat come into play for an exit page. It's basically a questionnaire where you rate your Nike.com experience, what the purpose of your visit today was, did you accomplish your primary purpose on Nike.com today, and what should you like us to share with us. Just getting the analytics of this alone, being able to compare and see what different people have said about it, on what feedback they have, can really give you a great idea of where your audience stands when they leave a certain page. Did they find what they're looking for? Did they purchase something? These would be great numbers to take a look at. For acquisition, referrals, and traffic sources, it is important to understand your source. For Nike, you want to understand your top sources, who has your ads on their page, what source is your audience using to get the word of Nike out there. Whether it is pictures of your apparel or showing your ad campaigns on YouTube, we need to see what drives Nike's market. I think that when it comes to referrals and traffic sources, this really determines who is driving your market. It really comes down to the idea of whether or not Nike's ad is on someone else's webpage. When you type Nike in search, does someone else have it there for them? So taking a look at some of the sources, I found some of the top Nike sources. If you want to look over here, these actually shows you a list of the top Nike sources. You can see down below, Yahoo News is one of the lowest, which I actually found a little bit shocking. And I found shocking that photo bucket as well really surpassed Twitter. YouTube definitely is a great way to show ad campaigns, and I think that's one of the part of the reasons why it falls sort of in the middle of the mix. I was a little bit surprised on Facebook, which kind of just shows you a little bit more in conclusion that social media needs to be driven a little bit more in that direction. PhotoBucket is great for image hosting and easy photo sharing and photo editing, and Friend Feed enables you to discover and discuss interesting stuff your friends find on the web. As for keywords, I think that Nike has a lot of different keywords. When it comes to social media, they have different hashtags such as NTC, hashtag Nike, just do it. NTC, by the way, is a Nike training club, which is kind of like a subcategory to Nike. It's another thing that they have. Keywords are extremely important because it helps determine what is most important to an audience. This can come into play when it comes to the idea of timely. When certain words are best searched at, is it based on a holiday or certain sport events? So let's just think for a second about keywords and when you search them. Automatically, people are going to type Nike in the search, Google search, Yahoo News, whatever kind of search engine they have at their hands. That's mostly the first word that they're going to type in. And obviously, it's going to get a lot of hits. It's going to take you directly to the website. But other words that people do use, just do it. A big thing on Twitter. It's a big hashtag that you'll be able to find on Twitter. Something that really comes into play when searching for keywords. I think that on the idea of timely, are certain words more popular during certain events, during certain sports events? Are you going to find more Nike campaign ads during the World Cup sports events because that's the event that's coming on right now? Certain things need to take into account based on where you are time-wise. This is just a look using Topsy, set some of the keywords I typed in for tweets per day. I did Nike, hashtag Nike Training Club, and Just Do It from September 3rd to October 3rd. As you can see, in orange is Nike, and around the time between September 14th and 17th, it was very popular. And then it dropped down a little bit, especially between 9/20 and 9/23. It definitely dropped down a lot more. Looking at Nike Training Club, it's just consistently low as a hashtag. Looking at Just Do It, you can see that there's a little bit of an up and down with Just Do It, especially in between the 6th to around the 12th. It kind of just bobbled up and down a little bit and then stayed a little consistent from the 12th to the 14th. Between the 17th and a little bit of the between the 7th around the September 17th, you did see a higher jump, not as high as Nike itself, but you can see that it did rise again around 9/29 above Nike. In conclusion, from looking at the website, I would want to create an easier connection to social media directly on the homepage. I think that Nike's Facebook is another outlet for Nike, and it can help to drive market sales. As we saw in sources, it's not very popular amongst other ones, and I think that that's a mistake. I think that Facebook needs to be a very strong driving force. You can put ads on it. You can put sweepstakes on it. You can put games, images, as well as contests. And I think that they need to utilize that more. Nike Plus is another page on Nike, and it is an actively running page that should be advertised more. Nike itself as a brand is advertised, but I found that there is not much more that Nike offers. For college athletes, Nike Plus is a good tool for athletes to get in shape and get inspired. This should be seen more. Nike Plus is definitely a good tool that can be used to help drive more market for them. And I think that they need to cause a little more focus towards that. I think another big thing is we need to be able to determine which pages are most popular amongst Nike audiences. Nike has such a huge website with many different pages, and we need to be able to pinpoint exactly which pages are more popular with the audiences, where they're exiting those pages, why they're exiting those pages. So I think behavioral is a big aspect that comes into play, especially with Nike, because it's not only just about the apparel and whether or not they're buying something, but whether or not they're feeding into or buying the message that Nike has to offer. And this is my Works Cited page, and that is the end of my presentation.